أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. During the last video number 5, I was explaining about the blessings of mountains because we are discussing Surah Annaba, which is Surah 78 and verse 6. Verse 5 was Alam Najal Arda Mehadam and verse 6 is Wal Jibala Autada. So Wal Jibala Autada has been translated into English. In both these verses into English, is it not a fact that we have made the earth a bed? This is the translation of Alam Najaril Arda Mehada. And second, Wal Jibal Autada, and set the mountains as pegs. Set the mountain as pegs. So as regards its being peg, we will discuss later. So first we were discussing about the Wal Jibal. Alam Najalil Arda. After that, we have got this Alam Najalil Jibal. So we are discussing the benefits of mountains, the blessings of mountains. About it being a peg, we will talk later. So during the last video, I had spoken that Sheikh Maududi had enumerated about 6-7 blessings of mountain for the mankind, for the human race. And in the beginning, I will continue the same thing which Sheikh Maududi had said earlier with some scientific proof of what Sheikh Maududi had said. For example, Sheikh Maududi had said that mountains are useful for the change of seasons. So regarding change of seasons, the scientific explanation has been given, giving the example of mountain Himalaya. There's in India, the world's biggest and largest mountain is Mountain Himalaya, where you have this peak, Mount Everest, and very few people, the first man who climbed up to Mount Everest, he was regarded a hero in the history. Thereafter, some more people also climbed this Mount Everest. And a Japanese, even at the age of 86, he climbed the Mount Everest twice. So this is the top peak in the world and the biggest mountain. So one scientific study shows how mountains affect seasons. So here it says that today, because behind the this Mount Himalaya, one side is India, and the another side is Tibet, this Tibetan plateau. So scientific study says that today the Tibetan plateau, ringed by the Himalayas, drives the monsoon winds that govern the continent's climate. In the summer, says Kutzbach, there is some scientist whose name is Kutzbach, he explains that this Tibetan plateau is like a burner on an oven sticking halfway up into the atmosphere. And during the summer, it is like a hot wave, very hot. like a burner. Warmed by the column of air above the plateau rises up, drying in warm, wet air from the Indian Ocean and bringing with it the summer monsoon rains. This is how the climate is affected, and also Sheikh Maududi had told that the mountains are also responsible for rains. So both the things are explained this way. In case of Himalaya, for example, when it is summer, the hot winds uh, go from there to the Indian Ocean, and from Indian Ocean, this water of sea becomes vapor, and it is mixed up with the warm water, and this way, while there is a too much hot in the different parts of India and all the areas which are between Himalayas and the Indian Ocean, all those countries and areas which are in this region. So during the summer, they get monsoon rains. As even in Karachi, we always pray during the summer. It is too hot. People start praying Allah, oh Allah, give us some rains so that this heat cools down. This is the how mountains do during the summer. They take the water from sea and the monsoon rains in that region. So this is why. And the same scientific explanation says, in the winter the reverse is true. The plateau acting like a giant ice cube cools the parched air above, which rushes down off the plateau towards the Indian Ocean. So during the winter, it is too much ice on the Himalayas, and the wind blowing from there is extremely cold. The entire region which are affected by these winds near the Himalayas, they were all become extremely cold. This is because of the mountains. So this is how the mountains are affecting the season and the rains, and this is a great blessing of Allah. And this blessing of Allah is because Allah says that you think over this fact that why Allah created mountains, and nobody else can do this miracle, and nobody else can create mountains and have all these benefits which we are finding in it. This was one example. But beyond this, there is a long thesis by some information on the internet that how mountains benefit mankind and human beings, and why we should be thankful for the creation of mountains, because they are giving us a lot of blessings and a lot of comfort. So we should be thankful, and this is because of Allah. So all these blessings of mountains remind us the blessings of Allah, the power of Allah, the wisdom of Allah, that in creating mountains, and that is what Quran says. Alam najal arda mihadam wal jibal awtada. Has Allah not made these mountains? So he is asking us to consider this question. So when we consider this question, we come to know many benefits, many blessings which Allah has kept in the creation of mountains. The same scientific studies mentions some more blessings of the mountains. It says that the world's mountains are home to about 800 million people. So 800 million people in the world are living on mountains. They serve as water towers for billions. Mountains serve as water towers for billions of people and provide ecosystem services for the entire globe. for the entire globe. And these mountains are providing ecosystem service. Now it says that if there is a climate change, as it is now afraid that due to too much getting out of these gases and many things, there may be some climate. If there is a climate change, what will happen? Climate change will affect the world's mountain regions. And what will be the effect of this mountain regions? May jeopardize the important services provided by mountains. This climate will do this harm, climate change. This could include impacts on drinking water supplies. If the mountains are affected, scientific study says that drinking water, most of the drinking water we do not get from there are very big seas, but we don't get drinking water from the seas. They are very saltish. One cannot drink sea water. The drinking water is source of drinking water are mountains, either in the forms of river or in the forms of rains, whatever form the water comes to us, the drinking water, mostly it comes because of the mountains. So this drinking water supply will be affected if there is any climate change because the mountain structure and the mountain regions will be affected. And with this, hydropower generation will also be affected and agricultural suitability will also be affected and the risks of natural hazards will also increase. So these are many other, and then there will be a lot of flooding. And as a result of flooding, there will be landslides in mountains. And due to the landslides, there may be a lot of other harms. So there are so many things have been mentioned here. I will put this thesis at the end of this. That those who want to read, you can find the thesis and details, how mountains are benefiting, what are the scientific causes for the benefit coming out of the mountain, and if there is a climate change and there is some change, and how it will all affect. So there is a very long thesis of about 10 pages. At the end of this thing, I will put this entire thesis. Those who want to read, they can read it. At the end, it says some more interesting facts. Mountains provide fresh water to half of the world's population. Fresh water you get from mountains, and half of the world population is getting fresh water through mountains. And are home to half of all global biodiversity hotspots. Mountains are also important areas for recreation in the increasingly urbanized world. Switzerland is often seen as a mountain country par excellence. The Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, SDS, has supported the development of mountain regions worldwide since the early days of its involvement in the international development cooperation. Many of SDGs and Switzerland's first programs were anchored in mountainous countries. Mountain regions and their development have thus retained an important position in our engagement with the development up to the present day. So this is and it was given some figures that prominent examples include the creation of Chapter 13 on mountains in Agenda 21 adopted at the Earth Summit at Rio in 1992, engagement within the UN Commission on Sustainable Development, and the related resolutions on the mountains in 2007 and 2009. I mean, these are United Nations efforts. Support for the International Year of Mountains, IYM, International Year of Mountain in 2002, and the establishment of the International Mountain Partnership Initiative in the wake of World Summit for Sustainable Development in Johannesburg, that also in 2002. Dear readers, the present publication prepared on the occasion of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in UNFCCC 2009 in Copenhagen underscores Switzerland's commitment to sustainable mountain development. It is my hope that it will help raise awareness about the key role played by mountain regions in global development. May it also promote practical action in the face of the manifold challenges, and the probable opportunities that climatic change presents for mountain regions in an ever faster changing world. So this is the importance of the mountain, towards which Quran is, Allah is telling us, have we not made mountains? Alam najwil arda. And after that, Alam Najalil Jibala. So these are the benefits of the mountains which are recognized even on the international level, and they are celebrating Mountain Day and Mountain Year, and Swiss government especially, which is a mountainous country, is making every effort in all mountainous countries to develop tourism and mountainous spots. And recently, last year, we have seen in Pakistan, Imran Khan also made the efforts and developed this area. Last year, during summer, there was too much rush. The whole roads were jammed, airplanes were booked, all hotels were booked in the Murray and other mountainous areas, which had a very nice climate at that time. So these are the billing systems of mountain. Allah says that if you see these blessings, then you will be very conscious to the blessings of Allah. So these benefits of mountains, and we will have more about it. And now we come to the other part. And other part is wal jibala autada. What is autada? Wal jibala autadum. What is autadum? And so far we were speaking only the benefits of mountains, but now we will speak about the benefits of Autadam, making it a peg. Allah has made mountains as peg. So this is another point and another chapter. What are the benefits and what is the purpose of Allah making mountains as peg? As it has been translated as peg. Regarding this matter of peg, there are some Muslim scholars, they have written scientific thesis, Muslim scientists, some Malaysian professors and some Arab professors, they have made a research on this question, and with reference to Quran, they have showed what are the what is the utility of the mountains as a peg. But not only in this verse, there are Sheikh Maududi has given a reference of at least 3 verses in which this aspect of mountains aspect has been given much importance. So I will tell you that not only in this verse, but 3 other places where Sheikh Maududi has pointed out that this importance of the mountains aspects. Now the first reference he has given is that of in the Surah An-Nahl. So in that he has given some first of all I read you what are those verses which he has mentioned. Surah Nahl. The verse 15 and 16. It says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَأَلْقَى فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ وَأَنْهَارًا وَسُبُلًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ وَعَلَامَاتٍ وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. Verse 16 takes the discussion to a different topic. So I confine myself to the only verse 15, which says, وَأُلْقِيَ فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ. First I concentrate only on this section. The second section is وَأَنْهَارًا وَسُبُلًا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. These are two different topics. The topic which we are now discussing is about the peg, the mountain being erected as peg. The similar thing in different words. It says, وَأَلْقِيَا فِي الْأَرْضِ رَوَاسِيَ أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ. It has been translated, he has driven mountains firmly into the earth, lest it should turn away from its usual course along with you. This is the translation. Now, what Sheikh Maududi says here is very important. Sheikh Maududi explaining this section of the Surah An-Nahl about mountains, he says, this shows that the real function of mountains is to regulate the motion and speed of the earth. This is the explanation of Sheikh Maududi. That the real function of mountain is to regulate the motion and speed of the earth. We have come to this conclusion, for the Quran has made this benefit of mountains very pertinent in many places. So there are many benefits of the mountain, which I have also mentioned earlier, but this one particular benefit that the mountain has been placed as peg, this aspect is said the most important, and Quran has given it prominently in many places, and according to Sheikh Maududi, this is the main purpose of the mentioning of mountain in Quran. So he is telling that this shows that the real function of mountain is to regulate the motion and speed of the earth. This is the purpose of keeping mountain as peg. We come to the conclusion that Quran has made this benefit, this special benefit of mountain very prominent in many places. Therefore, their other benefits should be regarded as incidental or secondary. This is the interpretation of the Sheikh Maududi. This is the main function of mountain, is this one which here we have in Quran is pointing out. All other benefits which I have explained during the so far and also in the previous video, these are all secondary. The topmost is this driving the mountains into the earth as a peg. Now, about this problem, as far as scientific study is concerned, some professors of Muslim professors in Malaysia University and some in other universities, I have got two theses written by one Muslim scientist, Malaysian professor. They have a department in Malaysian University. And there is another thesis by an Arab. His name is Dr. Zaglol Al-Najjar. He written this thesis on 13 December 2019. And there is one thesis by a Malaysian professor. He has read this thesis in some conference, in some international conference. This is the proceedings of Socio Int 2019, 6th International Conference on Education, Social Sciences and Humanities on 24 to 26 June 2019, Istanbul, Turkey. In Istanbul, Turkey, there was a conference and in which this thesis was presented by one Malaysian professor. His name is, I will give his name later. First of all, I tell you what is his conclusion. It is a long thesis, but what is his conclusion? Conclusion is that after numerous researches regarding this topic, regarding this mountains as stabilizer, mountains as peg, regarding this aspect is this topic. The word rawasiya, because in this Surah Nahl, the word rawasiya has been used. The verse which I read you, in many other places also, some places it is Jibal, mountain, and this rawasiya also, mountain. Here it says, وَالْخِيَا فِي الْأَرْضِ rawasiya. So this rawasiya, wherever it has been mentioned about this professor says, أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ وَالْخِيَا فِي الْأَرْضِ rawasiya أَن تَمِيدَ بِكُمْ. He has driven mountains firmly into the earth, lest it should turn away from its usual course along with you. About this word rawasiya, this professor says that the mountain that maintain the stability of the earth. This is their scientific conclusion. Mountain is the impact from collision of different earth's tectonic plates and has deep root several times than height of the mountain. Whatever is the height of the mountain, its roots are much bigger, sometimes 10 to 15 times more than whatever height you find. If Himalaya is 29,000 feet, then 15 times into 30,000 feet is inside the earth. This very much, on a big area it is covering. It says the mountain is the impact from the collision and deep root several times than height of the mountain at the surface of the earth. The role of mountain as a stabilizer. This is what Sheikh Maududi has said in Quran. This aspect has been mentioned again and again, again and again, that mountain is the stabilizer. For example, in Surah Namal, which I will again quote in a different way, the verse of the Quran says, Amman ja'al al-arda qararan أمن جعل الأرض قرارا وخلالها أنهارا. Let me see it. جعل لها رواسي. this section. The full verse is أمن جعل الأرض قرارا وجعل خلالها أنهارا وجعل لها رواسي وجعل بين البحرين حاجزا أي إله مع الله بل أكثرهم لا يعلمون. The translation is that, and who is it who made the earth as a place of rest and caused in it rivers to flow and set in it firm mountains and placed barriers between the two bodies of water? Is there besides Allah another God who is his associate in these works? Nay, but most of these people have no knowledge. In this entire verse, I am now talking about only the first section, which is أَمَّنْ جَعَلَ الْأَرْضَ قَرَارًا وَجَعَلَ خِلَالَهَا أَنْهَارًا وَجَعَلَ لَهَا رَوَاسِيَ. Only this section, and which means that and who is it who made the earth as a place of rest and caused it in rivers to flow and set it in it firm mountains. Just see here the point which I am trying to emphasize is the statement of Sheikh Maududi that the mountains have been made as specks and is the most important aspect in the entire Quran compared to all other benefits. This is the main thing. So this point of Sheikh Maududi is proved by this verse of Quran. This verse of Quran says three things: that Amman Jalal Arda Khararum, have we not made the earth as a place of Jai Kharar, a place where you can have a peaceful life and good life, and a place which is giving you peace and everything. And by what? We have made rivers into it, and also we have made mountains. So these rivers and mountains also two reasons for making the earth Jalal Ard Kharar, a place of peaceful life. The mountain also, this is a reason, is a basis for keeping the earth kharar, that is stable. To maintain the stability, to make the earth jai kharar, a stable earth, mountains are responsible, rivers also. How rivers, that I will take up later. But here I am talking of the mountain as a factor. Quran says that these mountains maintain the stability of earth. So this is what Sheikh Maududi also saying. This stability of the earth motion and earth speed, all the stability which we find on this earth is one reason which Allah has mentioned again and again in the Holy Quran about mountains, is this main factor. So about this main factor, now we are discussing that whatever Sheikh Maududi has trained as the main factor, so that interpretation of Sheikh Maududi is proved by this verse also of Surah Namal, with that section which I have quoted to you now. Now I was telling you about the conclusion of this professor. His name is probably Khairuddin something. This conclusion that how these mountains are responsible for the stability of the earth. It is keeping the earth as calm and quiet and not with too many earthquakes and disturbance. About this professor is telling that First of all, he told that why the earthquakes occur. The later on said the role of mountain as a stabilizer. This stabilizer is the point I am trying to emphasize. The role of mountain as a stabilizer is proved when scientific research found that mountain's root helps in reducing the speed of lithosphere, thus decreasing the impact. The process of isostasy helps to maintain the stability of the earth by maintaining the mountain position. He has used scientific words. Conclusion is that because of the mountain, the stability of the earth is being maintained. That is what Quran says, and that is what Sheikh Maududi has interpreted as the main reason for these mountains. In addition, the author says, Al-Quran mentioned this fact in many verses, such as Surah Al-Hijr, Surah Luqman, Surah Al-Anbiya, and Surah Al-Mursalat. This great of guidance received almost 1400 years ago and consistently picturing the mountain as a peg that stabilizes the earth from dangerous shaking and protect the living things. The word peg symbolizes that most of the mountains are hidden beneath ground and act as a nail that hold the mountain on tectonic plate. All this information clearly proved the truth of the Quran and Prophet Muhammad, as all this information and knowledge is known until late 1960. And the information are getting more accurate by modern research. He said the modern research from 1960 onwards came to know this thing, that the mountains have very big roots, 10, 15 times big roots than what they are up. And because of those big roots going inside the earth and covering a very long space, so that weight of the mountain is stabilizing the earth. So this thing they came to know only now in 20th century. Whereas Quran says, as Sheikh Maududi has also said, that Quran says that the main benefit of the mountain is to keep the stability of motion of the stability on the earth. So this fact, scientifically, this Muslim author has proved in his entire thesis, and conclusion I have told you, that he says that this conclusion was already there in Quran, which science has discovered now in 1960. So this also indicates the truth of the Quran, and there are a few more things on this subject, and there is also a conclusion of the another Muslim Arab scientist, Dr. Najjar, and that inshallah I will speak in the next video. This has already grown long, inshallah. But all these things show that whatever Quran has written, even about the earth and mountains and the earthquakes, all these things are being proved by the scientists in 20th and 21st century. What we know from 1500 years ago in Quran. One thing. Second thing is that all this is because not just for the study of science, it is just because to know the power of Allah, wisdom of Allah, and to know the power, to be obedient to the power who has made all these things. Our iman should increase when we see all these big miracles of Allah and all these benefits from Allah. Inshallah, we will take up the continuity of this discussion in the next video 7 also. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.